The FIA quietly updated the official 2026 Formula One regulations. No press conference, no big announcement, just a document revision. Issue 05 published on the FIA's website, but what is inside that document is anything but quiet. The ADU rules have been rewritten, the review periods have been changed, and a brand new category has been created that did not exist before. A category that is so extreme, so specifically tailored to one particular situation that only one manufacturer on the entire grid can currently qualify for it. Honda, Aston Martin's engine partner, the team that has scored 0 points in 4 races, the team whose drivers have been unable to feel their hands after 30 laps, the team that Toto Wolff said last month was the only one that truly needed help. Well, they are getting help, more help than anyone expected. And Wolff, who warned the FIA repeatedly that ADU should not be used to change the competitive order, is not happy about it. This video breaks down exactly what changed, who benefits, by how much, and why Mercedes are watching this very carefully. Start with the most immediately relevant change, the review period adjustment, because it directly affects what happens at the next race in Canada. Originally, the ADU system was built around a 2-4 race calendar. Performance reviews after races 6, 12, and 18. The first checkpoint was always going to be Miami, the 6th race. Then Bahrain and Saudi Arabia were canceled. Miami became race 4. The original checkpoint no longer made sense. The FIA has now officially confirmed the adjusted periods. Period 1 covers rounds 1 to 5. Period 2 covers rounds 6 to 11. Period 3 covers rounds 12 to 18. What that means in practice is this. Canada is round 5, the end of period 1. The first formal ADU assessment happens after Canada. Any manufacturer found to be behind the benchmark after that race will be notified and can introduce upgrades at the first race of period 2, which is currently Barcelona. For Ferrari, this is genuinely good news. The upgrade that was being discussed for Monaco or Spain can now potentially arrive at Barcelona with the formal regulatory backing of an ADU grant, rather than just relying on homologation permissions. For Honda and Aston Martin, the timeline matters less than the category change that comes with it, because what the FIA built for period 1 is not just a timeline adjustment, it is a rescue package. This is the change that matters most and the one that Toto Wolff is most concerned about. Before May 7th, the ADU system had 5 performance bands. Less than 2% behind, no help. Between 2% and 4%, 1 upgrade opportunity. Between 4% and 6%, 6% and 8%, and 8% and 10%, escalating levels of support, the system stopped at 10%. There was no category for manufacturers more than 10% behind the benchmark. There is now. The new category officially confirmed in the FIA's Issue 05 document grants manufacturers more than 10% behind the benchmark, 230 additional development hours per ADU period. That is the maximum in the entire table. More than any other category, more than double what a manufacturer 2% to 4% behind receives. And the financial support that comes with it, $11 million in cost cap relief per period, is also the highest available. Who is more than 10% behind the benchmark? The FIA has not published the specific ICE Performance Index numbers publicly, but the picture from the first 4 races is not ambiguous. Honda's power unit has been limiting Aston Martin to the back of the grid. Verstappen estimated at one point that the vibrations and power deficit combined were costing several seconds per lap. Independent technical analysis has consistently placed the Honda unit as the furthest from the benchmark of any manufacturer on the grid. The 10% category was not created for Ferrari. Ferrari's deficit to Mercedes is estimated at around 2%. Enough for ADU support, but nowhere near 10%. The 10% category was created because the existing categories did not go far enough for the situation Honda is actually in. 230 additional development hours sounds like an engineering metric. It is not just that. In Formula One power unit development, dyno hours are currency. Every hour on the test bench is an opportunity to run different combustion configurations, different fueling strategies, different mapping approaches. It is where problems are identified, validated, and solved before they reach the car at a race weekend. Under normal 2026 regulations, power unit manufacturers are working within strict cost caps and test bench hour allocations. Honda arrived at the start of the season already behind, not just in raw power, but in their understanding of how their engine interacts with the AMR26 chassis. The vibration problem that sent Alonso's hands numb after 20 laps and forced retirements in Australia and China was, at its core, a resonance problem between the engine architecture and the chassis structure. The principle is fine. Helping Honda, a manufacturer genuinely in crisis, is legitimate. But the system must not be used to leapfrog. It must not allow a manufacturer that is behind to suddenly jump ahead of the competitive order through regulatory assistance rather than engineering merit. On the surface, 230 hours for Honda sounds like pure Honda helping. Their deficit is so large that the practical question is whether they can even reach the level of Ferrari and Red Bull, let alone Mercedes. In that framing, Wolff's concern looks like protecting a position that Honda could not realistically threaten anyway. But here's the part that Wolff is actually worried about. The ADU system does not only apply to Honda. Ferrari qualifies at the 2% threshold. Audi likely qualifies. Red Bull powertrains may or may not qualify, depending on where their ICE performance index sits. Every manufacturer that receives ADU gets extra test bench hours and cost cap relief. Ferrari, if confirmed at around 2% to 4% behind Mercedes, receives 70 hours per period and $3 million in cost cap relief. That is not transformational, but it is additional resource that Ferrari can use to develop the engine upgrade that is already in preparation. It accelerates the timeline. It reduces the financial pressure on a team already pushing against the cost cap limit. And it happens 3 times across the season. 3 periods, 3 sets of additional hours, 3 tranches of cost cap relief. Added together, that represents a meaningful resource advantage for non-Mercedes manufacturers across the full season. That is what Wolff is protecting against. Not Honda catching Mercedes, Ferrari catching Mercedes. Let's go through every manufacturer quickly because the numbers tell the story better than anything else. Mercedes get nothing. They're the benchmark. Ferrari gets 70 hours and $3 million per period, 3 times across the season. That is 210 hours and $9 million to accelerate an upgrade already in preparation. Red Bull powertrains sit right on the 2% threshold. Inside it, nothing. Outside it, 70 hours and $3 million. A line call worth tens of millions in competitive resource. Audi are almost certainly in the ADU zone at a level above Ferrari. More hours, more financial relief. And Honda, 230 hours, $11 million per period. If Honda qualifies for all 3 periods, which, at their current deficit, seems almost certain, that is 690 additional test bench hours and $33 million in cost cap relief across 2026. For a manufacturer that started the season unable to complete a race distance, that is not just help, that is a lifeline. Wolff said ADU was designed to help manufacturers catch up, not leapfrog. He is right about the principle. The question is whether the FIA can deliver on it when the resources flowing through ADU are this significant. Canada is 5 days away. The first formal assessment happens after that race. One document published quietly on May 7th might end up being the most important piece of paper in the 2026 championship. You know where to find us.